We had seen 3 months of improvement in those trade numbers for South Korea. It seems we are backtracking a little bit. Why?
Hi. So this morning's headline, exports falling negative 9.9% from negative 7.1 in July, is largely due to the 1.5 more working day. So when we look into the per day, which shows the underlying momentum, that improved to negative 3.8% from negative 7 in the previous month. So I can say the recovery trend is continuing very slowly, but definitely the trend is there. So when we look into the details that comes out in about 2 hours, we can tell by region and industry. But just looking at the headline and the very product base, the major product base, including semiconductor, we can see that the recovery momentum is still intact, although quite very gradual.
Is that also why we saw a slight revision upwards when it came to the second quarter GDP numbers?
The second quarter GDP number, the revision upward was actually mostly due to the facilities investment and very slightly on the private consumption side. Actually, the external demand continued to show slowdown in the second quarter. It was negative 13% over a year. I think the revision is not particularly showing a different narrative from the previous preliminary number. We continue to see the rebound in the private consumption, but the external demand continued to show deterioration. I think overall, the slight upward revision isn't significantly showing too much of a positive news.
Is there a concern that we're starting to see the robustness of the Chinese economy start to level off? And what are the implications there for the external demand part of the story?
Sure. The rebound in the Chinese demand was showing some hopeful picture about for 2 months. But looking at the China data, although the rebound did pull up Korean exports, for August, it did fall back to negative 3%. So overall, I think the increase was due to the pent-up demand from the lockdown in the first quarter. But going into the second half, obviously the slowing global demand for China as well should play into a contraction in imports from Korea to China. So the expectation is that although the recovery in China should be helpful to Korea exports, but the momentum is likely highly dependent on the global recovery, especially the demand in the U.S. and Europe.